What if vocal freedom doesn't come from controlling your voice more, but from giving it more room to explore? Lately, I've been experimenting with vocal harmonies and unfinished songs and even singing with an instrument I barely play. And it's been reminding me that sometimes the best way to open the voice is through curiosity, not through pressure. So in this episode, I want to share a creative approach that might help you if you've been feeling stuck or disconnected or just creatively flat with your singing voice lately. Welcome to Singer-Songwriter, a space to reconnect with your voice, your music, and the songs waiting to be written. I'm Lainey, singer and songwriter, voice and creativity coach. If you've ever dreamed of writing and singing your own songs, but doubt or perfectionism keeps getting in the way, then grab that notebook full of ideas. It's time to open your voice, trust your sound, and express yourself freely. Your songs are waiting. Let's bring them to life. Hey friend, before we dive in, if you enjoy these kinds of conversations about singing and songwriting and creativity, reconnecting with your artistic voice, I would love to invite you to join my email list. Every week I send creative inspiration, behind the scenes reflections, songwriting and singing ideas, podcast updates for singer-songwriters and creatives who want to reconnect with their voice and creativity again. You can join at reawakenyourvoice.com/insider. So lately I have been sifting through unfinished songs, looking at ideas, my song seeds, these little pieces of creative inspiration that spoke to me at some point along the way, and I wrote them down. You know, I've been wanting my creative process to feel alive again. I've said in the past couple episodes that this is where I'm at. You know, I feel like the way I've been creating has been a little lifeless. And that's hard to say as an artist, as someone who loves creativity and knows how alive the process is of singing and songwriting and expressing something from deep inside of you through your voice. But it's the truth. And so that sense of restlessness, like something needs to shift, has led me to really deeply desire to reconnect with my voice and my songs this summer. So as I'm exploring and experimenting, I'm feeling into what I want this summer to look like creatively. So I want to just play and experiment and try things and see what opens up. And the truth is, I still don't fully know what my summer project is. I started just listening back through some little recordings of song seeds, little ideas that I've had, and seeing if something stuck out to me, if something sparked something or felt alive and was calling me into it deeper, to kind of follow that thread and see where it took me. And I landed on this song that I've been playing with, and it's just the chorus so far. But as I listened to the idea for the chorus, I started hearing harmonies coming through. Like, ooh, I want to play with layering vocals in this song. Whatever it ends up becoming, I already hear layers of the voice. It's that itself is intriguing to me. I also decided to pick up the banjo. So I have a banjo. I've had it for years and it hangs on my wall. And it's so beautiful visually. And yet it's so rare that I take it off the wall, hold it in my arms, and hear its sound, hear the beauty of its sound, and make music with it and play it. So I decided to mix things up a little bit, and I plucked some strings and kept it really simple because like I said, I don't play it much, so I'm not very skilled at the banjo, but I love the sound. And so I started playing it and allowing my voice to lead the way. And that just felt so refreshing creatively. Just keeping it simple and letting the voice lead. So with all of these playful, experimental, kind of exploratory things that I've been doing in my creative practice, I remembered that when we stop trying to control everything, the voice responds with creativity and freedom. So in this episode, I want to talk about why singers sometimes feel creatively stuck with their voice, and how perfectionism and overthinking can disconnect us from vocal freedom. And I also want to share with you a creative approach that can help you reconnect with your voice through curiosity and experimentation and play. I want to share with you some of these ideas and approaches that I have been playing with myself as I step into this creative playground that is this summer. So let's start by talking about why you might feel stuck with your voice. Feeling stuck isn't always about technique. Sometimes it's not that singers need more control over their voice. And I say this with love because I have people come to me and say, I want to work on control. I want to control my voice. I want to learn how to control my instrument so it does what I want it to do. But in reality, it's not more control that you need. It's permission. It's play. It's finding a creative entry point that allows your voice to play. Feeling stuck or constrained vocally is often a reflection of being constrained creatively, like you've put your voice in a straitjacket and then put a leash on it and said, dance, monkey, dance. And I've been there trying to force my voice to do something that it didn't want to do, or trying to pressure it into a place of beautiful tone quality and vocal freedom. And that's just not how it works. That made it harder. It made it feel tense to sing. And it created more resistance in me. I've often talked about how the voice is connected to our emotions. And the voice responds to our thoughts, our feelings. So if you are self-monitoring, like always checking yourself and judging the sound and trying to sound good, and if there's this underlying fear of sounding bad, if your thoughts are filled with perfectionism and you're overthinking technique, or you're just getting into a rut of these repetitive practice routines, doing these rote exercises the same way all the time, if you're putting pressure on yourself, if you're comparing yourself, all these things affect the physical instrument itself. So perhaps it's not technique. It's not vocal technique that's the root of it. Perhaps it is the underlying thoughts, feelings, emotions of the artist, of you, the human, who's behind all this beautiful music. So if you find yourself here in this place of feeling stuck vocally and longing for more freedom with your voice, here is what creates that freedom. Creative exploration creates vocal freedom. This kind of play, exploration, experimentation, it interrupts the perfectionism so that you are in this state of experimentation rather than evaluating yourself constantly. You are listening instead of judging. You are building that muscle to follow your instinct rather than filter it. And you're allowing possibilities to show up in your voice that may not have arrived had you been trying to control it. I mentioned earlier that I have been experimenting with vocal harmonies with one of my unfinished songs. And it's just bringing back this joy of harmony, like all those years of choir, singing with other voices and playing with the soundscape that is created when vocals layer and are arranged in such a way that create alternative possibilities. Like, let me explain that a little bit. So as you listen to a melody, you're asking, what else could exist alongside this melody? Like, is there an alternative melody above this or below this or both? Does it move up and down and all around? Harmonies taught me to listen differently instead of trying to sing correctly. It's like just exploring, allowing your voice to explore the possibility of an alternate melody. And then those become the harmonies. So this is just an example of how I followed my curiosity to open up something different, to switch it up a little bit and get some breathing room in my singing. But there are so many ways to do this. It's not just about listening for harmonies in an unfinished song or pulling my dusty banjo off the wall. This is about using creativity to reconnect with your voice. So if you're feeling stuck and constrained vocally, creative exploration is what opens up vocal freedom. And your own creativity is what leads the way. So here are some ideas for using creativity to reconnect with your voice and kind of re-enter your creative flow. 1, you can change your environment. So whether this is like going and practicing in a different room or outside or changing the mood lighting in your space, standing up instead of sitting, you can Play around with a different instrument, like switch up your environment and the surroundings of your creative practice and the elements that you're bringing into that space. Secondly, you can use unfinished songs as playgrounds. Go back to one of those songs that you have yet to finish and just eliminate all pressure, because this is about experimentation. And know that you don't have to finish it. You don't even have to use whatever you come up with in that session. But you're playing. It's a playground. You're trying things. Another idea is that you can explore harmonies. You can do simple thirds or echoing, maybe some layered textures above the melody, below the melody, and just follow whatever feels natural. And then most of all, you let the voice lead. And this is something that builds trust in your voice. If you follow your instincts, you will begin to learn that they can lead you in the most beautiful places. But we have to break through that urge to put up a filter or to edit as we explore. Let the voice lead and begin to build trust in not only your instrument, but your creativity. So here's something that you can try as a way of opening up vocal freedom through creativity. Set a timer for 15 minutes. And you're going to do just a 15-minute vocal exploration session. No performing or fixing or pressure. You're not evaluating yourself as you go. You're just improvising. Maybe you can start with a hum, begin to sing over some chords, or revisit some unfinished song ideas. Maybe you have, like me, a little recording of a voice memo of an idea, and you want to experiment with layering your voice on top of that as it plays back. You just sing along with it, but create alternative melodies, which become the harmonies. You can experiment with another instrument, kind of like I did with my banjo. Just following your curiosity, letting your voice wander. You can think of it that way, like allowing your voice to wander through the woods without an agenda. You're just there to soak up nature, listen to the birds sing, and breathe in the fresh forest air. And just ask yourself, like, what would feel creatively alive to explore right now? Not like what sounds impressive, but what feels alive. So let's recap. Feeling stuck vocally is not always about technique. Our voice is deeply connected to our emotions and to our thoughts. They're all in there together. So those thoughts, perhaps some perfectionism, some doubt, some judgment, that pressure and comparison can disconnect us from the voice, and then it shows up as tension in our instrument. What creates the vocal freedom that we are longing for is exploration, curiosity, experimentation, allowing yourself to play. Experimentation is what reconnects us to our creativity. And if harmonies intrigue you, that is something you can use to deepen your listening. Unfinished songs can become your creative playgrounds. And most of all, vocal freedom often begins with exploration. the voice opens back up when we stop trying to control every note and just give ourselves permission to play and to explore again. This is creativity. This is art. We get to have fun. So here's to a summer of fun and play and exploration. And remember, if you want more creative reflections, singing and songwriting inspiration, more of the behind the scenes artist conversations like this, join my email list. Go to reawakenyourvoice.com/insider. I would love to have you there. Thanks for listening, friend. If this episode moved you or inspired you in some way, would you please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or share this episode with someone who's been praying for a vocal breakthrough? Until next time, keep nurturing that song in your heart. Lots of love.